Hello, family. Give me a few minutes. Y'all know I got a little housekeeping I got to do before I get started. Got my bottle of water. Got my Zyrtec because allergy season is here. So bear with me. All right. I was gonna kind of wait around for a couple of people to come in. It might just be us, family. So hold on, got a little housekeeping to do. So bear with me. Let me get myself set up, and then we gonna get going because I don't want to keep everybody here late. Hold on one second. All right, family. One second. Hold on. I am coming and we can get started. One second. Let's see. All right, family. All right, all right. One second. Hit that like button. Copy. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Okay, yep. Is it here? Yep, it's here. All right. All right, fam. Make sure you like the page, like the conversation we're about to have. If you have not subscribed for my page, please do. Thank you so much, Ajukita. I'm finna mess it all the way up for your super chat. Thank you so much. All right, family, let's give it a few more minutes. I want to make sure everybody gets in here because it's quite a few people. Okay, so everybody seems like they're switching over. So, okay, you're gonna see me in a minute. Go see me in a minute. Hold on. Hello, 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 hello. All right. Oh, you know what? I had to come talk to y'all. Um, it's been an eventful day, hasn't it, family? Ah, it has been eventful. That's all I got to say. One second. Let me make sure everybody's in here. One second. One second. Family, here I go. I'm waiting for everybody to get in here. Give me a few seconds. Let me see. How many I got in here? How many I got in here? Let's see. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. All right. 26 people. I can get started now. Okay, family. First, welcome. Thank you, Bill McLean, for your super chat. You're amazing. Ah, family. Yeah, gathering. Neffy did get bodied today. We can't be excited, no. But all right, first I want to say this. Peace, peace, peace. Let me call out some names before I get started. Because I want to let everybody know who in here. I want to say shout out to Mr. Spacely. Shout out to Evelyn. Shout out to Darnell. Oh, shout out to Ejakita. Oh, Jakita. Oh gosh, I'm gonna mess your name up. EJ. Thank you so much. Yakoba. Thank you. Peggy, thank you. Gatherer of Nations, thank you for coming in here. Kiris, what's going on? Y'all, Kiris is, I think he's gonna start a channel soon. I keep y'all posted on that. We support each other. That's one thing we're gonna do. Quentin, Shout out. What's up, Gather of Nation? I already said that, but yes, she did get bodied. And we can't be excited because they losing. Because Andre, shout out, beautiful mom, shout out. Joe's beautiful daughter, what's up? Virginia from Northern Virginia. What's going on, ma'am? How are you? I haven't talked to you in a while. Yeah, family. Yeah. I had to hurry up, put this hair wrap on, put these earrings on real quick. Cause I said I gotta talk to the family, y'all. I gotta talk to y'all. Now, Elizabeth, shout out. Um, what's going on, Solomon? 144. I gotta make sure I say shout out to a lot of people because sometimes I go straight in and don't say nothing. Hey, okay, so Pastor Kelly said he's gonna hop in here real quick. Yeah, she got yeah. Dante and Kelly both. Yeah, they kind of yeah they did a phenomenal job. Hold on one second. Let me make sure the room clear. All right, because I got a dog. I had to get her out of here. All right, so all right, now we can get started. So first I want to say this. And let me give you a quick timeline. And I might miss some folks. For the folks I do miss, I am so sorry. But I'm trying to give a timeline and I'm gonna take my time through this. My introduction to the UA community was through Facebook. I had befriended Kelly and Majors. And I noticed there was a community of individuals that they consistently battled with. And I said, who is this community? And I saw urban apologist. I said, what is an apologist? This is not in the Bible. Because I searched the scriptures to see, is it something I missed? Because I never say it's something I did not miss. I need my chapstick. But I said, was it something that I missed? And yeah, it was. I just kind of stayed clear of it. And what I noticed, it was a few individuals, and I don't mind naming them because hey, they do what they do. It was my first contact was I want to say it was Neffy. Then I actually ran across Faithful to God's YouTube, and I was like, "Who is this dude?" But I was like, "The stuff he's not saying isn't making sense." Then I proceeded to start. I ran into I saw Damian Richardson, and I said, "Who is this individual?" Then I saw Eric Mason on Facebook. So I kept saying, what is an apologist? And for some reason, the apologist got a problem with the Israelite community. And it was a few others that I met that I'm not going to really name because really they haven't really hopped into the fight, but they are not in agreement with the Israelite movement. And a couple of them I had kind of some conversations with, and I noticed they were very combative. I said, wow. I said, I thought I had a, because I had just joined back in the day, family, when back 5 years ago, when everybody had some type of Facebook group and it was always some Israelite name. And I would join them and they was very hostile. So I, left a lot of those groups because I was like, well, I don't like this energy in here. So their spirit was like always arguing. So with that being argumentative, I mean. So with that being said, family, I am just this is coming off the top of my head. So if I miss something, pray for me and please don't nobody get their feelings hurt if I miss your name. But with that being said, I started, I left, like I said, the Israelite groups and started interacting more on Facebook. This group was very combative. The apologist group, they meant they were on a mission to kill the narrative of the Israelite belief or movement. And I said, why are they trying to kill this movement? Because you know, everybody here is genuinely trying to research it and find out, with this, where is any truth or whatnot. And And they were just all about, it doesn't matter about identity. I've heard identity, Christ is your identity. I've heard, why do you need to know that? Then I've also heard that no, y'all can't be the people, the prophecy doesn't fit you all. I've heard everything, but I was a loner, so I didn't know how to defend myself. And I was like, wow, these folks are really, 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 really difficult. And they kept trying to put, me in a box. And I said, no, I believe in the law and grace. I believe that, we do have to obey God's commandments, but Yeshua Mashiach is our savior. And I believe in the full salvation of Yeshua. And I believe in the Ruach HaKodesh. Um, being the being the one that intercede, well, is the one that actually writes the laws on your heart. And at that time, I wasn't saying Ruach. I was saying Holy Spirit, and I was saying Jesus Christ, which I still, like I said, I don't have a problem with saying either. So folks, don't message me talking about don't call him that, because I'm going to ignore it. But with that being said, I started listening to Kelly, and I said Kelly has a very good, you know, platform to teach. So I started listening to him. Then I started watching Spiritual Combat. If you don't know about Spiritual Combat, that means you brand new. Who give me one if you remember Spiritual Combat back in the day when you had Josh, you had and keep in mind at that time I was still listening. I had just started listening to Tayu and started listening to Darby. But again, I didn't have a connection with those two because it was only Facebook. Because I didn't know Tayu like I know him now. I just knew him, on this Facebook platform. So I really could never just ask a lot of questions other than asking questions in the comments. And sometimes you just don't want to ask certain questions because you don't want to sound stupid. So I said I gotta find somewhere where I can get some of my questions answered. Um and like I said, Darby, and I hope I'm not talking too fast. But then I, like I said, I was listening to Darby. And then I met Ron Shields as well. But that's when right after Darby passed, I ran across Kelly. In fact, what's so interesting is Darby died in December. I ran across Kelly in December. And like I said, I was listening to Tayu at the time. And Tayu had solid teachings. Like I was like engulfed in their teachings. Like I would listen to their stuff all day. Now keep in mind, I haven't quite come in contact with Dante yet because how I'll explain later how I came in contact with Dante or far as caught his page. But the reason I'm explaining in a minute why I'm going through this whole little timeline thing, and you're going to see my point why I'm saying that. So I start following Spiritual Combat, and Spiritual Combat at the time was Kelly, Majors, Hebrew Nation. I think Ron. I don't know if Ron Shields. I don't ever remember Ron Shields being on Spiritual Combat. Who else was at Spiritual Combat? Who else can remember? Because those are the ones that I remember the most. And and again, Ron Dalton, I really didn't. I saw him, but I didn't see him. At first, I was like I said, I was locked in on Kelly's teachings. But what I noticed is they have been battling with the UA community. They didn't back down. They wasn't backing down. And they gave them a run for their money. And when I say that, I mean Kelly, I mean Majors, and I mean Hebrew Nation. Now, keep in mind, at this time, Tayu and Dante had their own platform, and they were more so teaching about, the importance of, you know, um, following Jesus Christ and, ensuring that people did not get intertwined with the camps. Because I really listened to them because they really knew how to explain certain things to keep you out of the way of the camps. So, but like I said, UA community was coming hard and I hadn't came across vocab, hadn't came across, I didn't know who vocab was until much later. So being the UA community. But back to the Israelites, they was giving them a run for their money. But at that time, they were pretty much debating with Damian Richardson, and it was a couple other people. Eric Mason was there, but he wasn't like, heavily involved. But they did have Nephi, and then that's when all that Nephi stuff started coming out. The reason I'm saying this is giving you a little timeline. So after all that, and I watched them for a good little minute, I ran across Beran, and then I started being on Beran's panel, and I noticed where this was right after the frequency conference that the guys who were originally had started out, I mean, just battling it out with UA community, had started getting ministries. They became pastors. I think Kelly had always been a pastor, and I don't know about Hebrew Nation, but I know they used to always debate on spiritual combat and debate with those individuals like the UA community. So when I got on Brand panel and I started telling them about, Tayu and all of them, Dante had surfaced and started going at vocab because vocab had started making, and this is when I came across vocab, when he made a comment about Dante's book. And Dante, by that time, I knew Dante, I met Dante, I had talked to him, off and on chat. But by that time, I still hadn't met Tayu, and I later on met Tayu by way of Dante. That's when, like I said, the first wave, and I did a whole thing. I was getting ready to do a teaching on Beran's panel about the wave because I looked at it like as being waves of ministries that came in and did things. And I said, wave one was that I saw. The wave one was Taggy was always in each wave though. But you had Stephen Darby, you had Pastor Omar, you had I was listening to uh, those guys. And then wave two was when I came across Kelly and all those guys, and Tegu was in that wave, and so on and so on. But they was giving those guys a run for their money again. That's that whole spiritual combat panel, which was like I said, Kelly and all those guys. Then Tegu and them picked up on, wait a minute, what's the UA community? I think they knew of apologists, but I don't think they were as much engaged because they was into teaching their people. Well, guess what happened? Pastor Kelly and all of them had to get focused on ministries. Here come Tayu. Now keep in mind, they had gotten battered by the first wave. The second wave came in. Tayu and Dante did a work on them. When I say I think they were expecting to just for Kelly and Majors and all of them just to be there, and they did not expect Dante and Tayu to step in. And I told Beran this. I said, Beran, please warn them. I said they're too busy worried about Pastor Kelly and Majors, which were, concerned about ministries and pastoring. I said they missing out on a group that if they not prepared, they gonna get knocked down. And Beran was like, oh, okay. He never paid attention. Y'all, when I say that he did not pay attention, did not pay attention. Yeah, Mike Israel's panel was spiritual combat. I'm sorry. But he did not pay attention. And guess what happened? They was getting ready to do more damage or attempt. When I say UA community was more so leaning on trying to get, coming at Pastor Kelly and Majors. By the time they looked up, Tayu and Dante came in and beat the brakes off of them. Hey, Pastor Kelly. Hey, can't hear you. I cannot hear you. Okay, it says your audio is connecting. So, and I got Pastor Kelly to come on here because I want him to talk. And I thought I was gonna get the Tayu brothers on here, but I know they had something else, so I kind of explained that part. But when they came in, when they came in, thank you so much. Contending for the faith. I'm the soldier. Thank you, Sister Soldier. Thank you. But Tayu and Dante and those guys caught them off guard. And what's so funny is the UA community quit looking at Kelly and Majors in them and started focusing on Tayu and those guys and lost focus of Kelly and them. I guess he thought that they were done. And guess what? They came back in again. And where they are now is every single one of them getting the brakes beat off them. And what I want to say is this. I want to thank and Kelly's going to explain it more, but I do want to thank every single person. We gotta thank our brothers for the work they've done, and thank the Most High God for placing this on their hearts and getting them equipped and prepared for what we are dealing with now and what we will have to deal with in the future. God got them equipped at a very Yah or God. Like I said, folks want me to say, I say Yah. Yah got them very prepared and equipped. Dante was very ready. Tayu and those guys were very ready for this battle. Kelly, Majors, all these guys put in this work. And family, I want y'all to know that I've never seen the UA community on the ropes like this before. I mean, I've seen them on the ropes, but I've never quite seen them like this. And I think it's a good thing, a concerted effort amongst the whole community to say, you know what, let's all talk, let's all work together, let's all do what we need to do to ensure that we protect our people. Um, because again, Tayu and those guys, when they came in, was at the time that me and Cherry and those and G Man got into it, and they came in and finished it all. I mean, they did a good little work on them. But like I said, I want Kelly to explain that first wave. You got a sec, bruh? We can't hear you, Kelly. We cannot hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, sorry about that.
So
I think
tell us
some.
about that period with the spiritual combat, because like I said, I was just a watcher at the time. I watched everything that transpired, but I never was engaged like I am now. So kind of tell us about the history of the spiritual combat.
Well, actually, it goes before then. It's I'd say the Most High is great, and what many of you are going to be surprised about is um, me and Majors met through someone that's from our assembly, and she just like 5 years ago, she said, "There's a guy out there that sounds just like you, as far as teaching." Right? And I'm like, who is this guy? I was like, all right, just give me his number. She's like, I want you to reach out to him. And we hit it right off the, hit it right off the back. And little did we know that we were cousins. But we hit it right off the back. We were doing a lot of things together. As far as um, we came up with the idea of like, what was it, what did we call it? Upgrade evangelism, kind of going to different assemblies and did something at our assembly to where as though upgrading the evangelism or how to go out and evangelize to others. But make a long story short, um, what really kind of, I guess, um, put me on the map, so to speak, with the community was when I did the um, Black Lives Matter message. And when I did that message, I didn't know that that message was going to go viral, which it did. And during that time, um, that's how I got introduced to the UA community at that time as well. But um, they will make posts on my page or Major's page, and also was also a guy by the name of Jalen. Um, Also, what's his name? Now I'm drawing a blank right now. There was a few of us that was connected. So what would happen is, let's just say some those guys would go to Major's page. That's how some of them, a few of them, I got introduced by them going at Majors, and so Kevin Waters, right? So we'll go on Major's page and we'll defend Majors, or they'll come on my page and they'll defend me, and one of the things I guess what kind of caught him off guard was the fact that I have a baby face, and I know I don't look my age. So it seemed like everyone was coming at me, and I guess they didn't realize that the depth of my knowledge base, at that time. So it was just a lot of stuff going on. But the biggest thing was that's how we got introduced to the UA community, because I had literally had pastors coming at me, literally, and they just couldn't have an answer. I've had rabbis, challenge me and then say, hey, they want to go live, and then they back out of it at the last minute because of, I guess, the way I answered certain questions, not in any disrespectful way, but what ended up happening from there, far as how spiritual combat came into play. Me and my cousin came up with an idea called James 101. Me, Pastor Majors, and then my other cousin, Pastor Carr. Um, we came up with the idea about James 101, trying to unify all our, just have something that we all could come together. And so that's how I formally met Morris and Josh. There's a whole slew of them came over to our assembly up here in Virginia, and that kind of took off. So fast forward a year later, we did another one down in Georgia, oh no, Florida, Jacksonville, and that's how we came in contact with Michael Israel. Um, and he had a spiritual combat show, but he was still like kind of like trying to launch it. But so he would be at some of the programs that we would do, and he'll just do interviews and things like that. And so we all came onto his platform trying to help boost his platform. Just so that because we felt it'd be a good opportunity to have a meet, kind of like a centralized channel for our people to be able to come and just talk about whatever things that are going on internally. And so that ended up going a different direction than what I anticipated on it going. And you guys are already familiar with the whole Dow situation. So, but that's how we really got going. And with the UA community, uh, I want to say 2 years ago, that's when we got invited to their frequency conference. And during that time, in the video that you see in part one, me responding to the UA community, Nefertiti was very rude and disrespectful to me. They were making up a bunch of lies, but none of them would ever go live or engage. They were making up lies saying that we don't believe in the Most High, and we look at Christ as a demigod. Taking the talking points from the Jehovah Witnesses and directing it towards us. And but they would never go live. They'll do the same thing that you see today. They'll um, say, put things out there so we could go to their Facebook account, and then they would never bring us on live. But they'll engage everyone else but us. And so during that time, little did anyone know that that whole interaction that happened with me and Damon Richardson when he couldn't find shalom in or shalom inside the scriptures that I gave him, and it's just a lot of stuff that happened, little things that I just kept quiet about. And so when that thing happened with Nefertiti, when she slandered me, similar to what she did with Dante, uh, I was ready to respond, but the Most High told me to pull back. Because one of the things, I'm from Newark, New Jersey, and one thing I learned from being out there in the streets is, you know, we have to, especially being a man, you have to be careful in how you engage women. And no matter how good or how right you are with what you're saying, sometimes people can take it the wrong way as if you're bullying that person. So I learned that. So the Most High told me to pull back. And then Tazamore invited um, Majors and myself to come up to the frequency thing with Bishop Mason and them to try to bridge the gap with the goal of bridging the gap. And we was like, okay. And it didn't turn out the way we thought it would because we pulled back thinking that we were going to, try to at least establish some type of common ground. And then they kept doing their tactics of bad mouthing the Israelite community, only to push like conferences. That's how I started getting caught on, kind of caught. I mean, how can I put on to the game? Because every time they would do a conference, they always put out a massive, um, kind of like a media thing from each one of them disrespecting our community. And then they came up with the term moderates and all this other stuff. So after that frequency conference, and as you see in the pictures that you saw, we were cordial, hugged them and everything, thinking everything was cool. And then from that point on, we pulled back, but they kept going forward with all kinds of crazy stuff. So me, being a pastor, I didn't want to get caught up in that because I still have to keep in mind that I do have an assembly that I'm leading. And so I pulled back, and um, Pastor Majors started his ministry almost 2 years ago. So, we started shifting our focus elsewhere, and um, and so kind of gotten away from them. And so you already know the whole situation with the Pastor Dow, that situation, and how that went, which didn't expect it to go that way. But he wanted to talk about polygamy. He saw a post, and that was instigated by Michael Israel, who initially was I thought was cool, but he was kind of playing both sides, and he was on the call when Dal and I, we all had a three-way, and said, hey, we was going to come up with have a debate. But I said, my rule of thumb, I don't like debate because of the ugliness. I like to label it discussion, and told him my thoughts on it. But everything was cordial. And then, you already know the rest of history. 3 days later, I guess he got nervous when I told him that I'll come to Tennessee to do the debate because, discussion. I guess he got nervous because, of course, like some of them label me as this soft-spoken Christian pastor. They gave me that label. You know what I mean? And so, but also to add to it, what's his name? A few others didn't want to have a discussion with me. Like, what's his name? The pastor Kevin Wesley. He was one that ducked me. It's another guy. I think he called it some ex young guy on got his own channel from the Muslim community. He said he wanted to have a discussion, and I told him I can prove that um, Farrakhan don't know the scriptures. And when we had our initial conversation over the phone, he decided to back out of the discussion. And so it's just a lot of things that was happening at that time. But fast forward, but with the whole thing with Dow, when he went in the area that he went, insulting my wife, insulting me, the language that he was using, and Michael Israel, how he kind of not kind of he egged that thing on, and we thinking that we were cool, but then he just kind of went in a different direction, and so I started focusing on that, and as so how I got introduced to Dante and Yacoba was while I was in the height of dealing with that. They came out of clear blue and did a video. When I say they, the urban apologetic community did a video on the pews and put my video in it, a video of me in it. And I'm like, okay, remember you brought that to my attention, and I had no clue because I kind of disconnected from all of that.
What's so
And I'm
funny
like,
was that was my first show on my channel.
exactly.
That was the very first
So
show.
so I'm, of course, we did a show, uh, um, and I told you I was like, oh man, I realized I was upset with the T-shirt on. I'm like, oh man, the one time I don't have a regular collar shirt on, the one time, and I'm like, okay, I know they're going to grab that because they reach for anything that they could reach for to present us in a negative light. But make a long story short, they did a video with the pews and put me in it without even talking to me or anything like that, and really was very it was distasteful. It was tasteless rather, and that's when you were trying to set up something with me and Abu to talk, and Abu gave you the runaround. Abu
Sure did.
months later didn't, after. Actually, he didn't even respond to us actually,
He
and
didn't.
then
Because I had gotten on the phone with Abu and Faithful on a three-way phone conversation. That was right after I think it was no, me and Faithful hadn't got into it yet on Brian's channel. It was before me and Faithful got into it really bad on Brian's channel. But it was yeah, they called me on three-way because Faithful wanted to make sure that, he tried to say I was wrong for doing what I did, but I told Faithful this. I said, what's wrong is you all have put this man's picture on your screen and have not even talked to Pastor Kelly. Well, what does Kelly know about, the pews? I said, you all don't even realize that that's his family. And I said, I said, y'all didn't have the decency to get in touch with them. So at the end of the conversation, Abu said, well, Faithful had asked me, well, let's have a conversation and a debate. I said, well, come on my channel. And Faithful said, no, no, come on my channel. And by that time, I had understood their game. They like to take you and put you on their platform so that they can have control of the conversation. And I said, no, I said, I have a channel too. I said, and I got a decent number of subscribers. I said, so just come on my channel. And he said, well, why don't we do this? Just have a phone conversation. And I said, why are we gonna go to a phone conversation? You don't want to be on my channel. Well, ultimately, at the end of the conversation, because it was a 2 day conversation, it was a conversation at first with just me and Mike Faithful, and then the second time it was me, Mike, and Abu on the phone. And ultimately, Abu ended up saying, "Yeah, let's go on Sister E's channel," and he agreed to it. And then Faithful said, "Okay." So we ended the phone conversation, and see, they don't realize I'm queen of follow up. I'm gonna follow up. That's called something that we all learn in corporate America. I said, let me follow up and make sure that I say something because I know the tactics and the ways of, let me follow up because I know how Faithful operates and I don't know how Abu operates, but let me reach out to Abu to ensure that he's good because I initially thought it was Abu that was good about coming on the panel and he was going to talk to Faithful because they interact with each other. That's just like me and you interacting and someone invites you to be on the panel for me and you. If they reach out to you, you're going to let me know, Pascal. So I'm thinking, I sent a message to Abu. He didn't respond. Sent another message to Abu. No response. Sent him a voice message over Messenger. No response. And that's when I said, they not going to respond, but at least I reached out. So back to your point about and ultimately ended with Faithful trying to call me out saying, well, you were on Beren's channel, and I don't know how many people saw that, but me and Faithful got into it really bad on Beren's channel to the point that I think Beren took it down because it was he tried to call me out saying, well, Sister E, if you about us coming together and debating, it was about another subject, but we switched over to that. I have the whole conversation recorded of me and you talking. And I said, Faithful to God, you act like nobody knows you do shady stuff like that. You're shady like that. So I said, I don't care about you recording. I said, because if whatever I've said, I can say it in front of everybody on this live. He said, well, why didn't you reach out to us? I said, aha, I got you, my friend. I reached out to Abu. And he said, huh? And when he said it, I went straight to the message on Messenger and showed him the message and said, Faithful, you see this right here? Well, why didn't you reach out to me? I said, well, I'm thinking because you Abu friends, that if I reach out to Abu, he's going to talk to you. Why should I have to reach out to you? But I talked to Abu and he was like, well, you should have reached out to me. Well, it's too late. That was a month ago. It was like a month ago, a month before that. And I said,
Well,
well,
yeah, and then
yeah.
remember what ended up happening. They were coming out with another video,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we didn't know anything about it. All of a sudden, a bull responds to your group, and I
Month
just
later.
was stern with them months later. Actually, what, about a month and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
And initially, everything went down around November while I was dealing with the whole Dowell thing, and that's why I'm very appreciative of Dante and those guys because it allowed me to focus on that over there versus dealing with the UA community. But make a long story short, remember, I was stern. I made it clear, like I'm not with any of that. I've made it clear when I say with that is I don't want to have a conversation now
Yep.
because you don't put out a video and then getting ready to release a second video with vocab and they trying to brag or whatever they call themselves finding with the pews or whatever the case may be. But then you got images of me, but then you expect me to be okay.
Yep.
You literally put me out there. I'm minding my business. And for those that may not know, my great great uncle, Pastor James Wesley call me Carr. That is my great great uncle. And he was the pastor back in 1904 of this church. He's one of the six pillars of this church, and they were Hebrews. They knew they were Hebrews. But so I knew once they pulled that into a discussion, it made me get upset. You know, it made me get upset because they're looking at it as, like trying to use it as a talking point of trying to discredit who we are as Hebrew Israelites,
Yep.
right? And I got offended by that. It's like, wait a minute, no, this is my heritage. This is not just some talking points, especially knowing the history of the area, especially going over to the slave graveyard, and you see our ancestors who graves to this day is desecrated. You can smell your way to where they buried at. I mean, they literally have them piled up on top of each other, literally. And in the video that you see in part one, you'll see a tarp over one of the graves. It's actually sunken in, and
Wow.
you couldn't even pull up. You know, if you would have opened up the tarp, like I pulled part of the tarp up, nearly passed out because of the scent, flies. I mean, it's that bad. And you right there, you see the tree, which is where they lynched our ancestors at. So for me, it's not just a talking point of trying to prove something, and then they're trying to and then go further with their insults, put a video up trying to say that I don't know Hebrew because I say that I can't read what's on the pews, and they couldn't read what's on the pews,
Yep.
right? I never said I could read what's on the pews. I could see certain letters, but I can't, I'm just being real with you. But then they went further with this disrespect because I made it clear that if these guys not careful and they start getting into this slander, I'm going to take them to court. They could be going right into the area of a lawsuit because when you start getting into this area of you're taking someone's personal stuff and you making it into this thing just to try to push a narrative, and that's what they were doing with me, and that really upset me for that whole thing. And so that's why I decided that, you know what, I'm going to put some videos out, and I'm going to show the truth of how these guys are. I'm going to expose them. I'm going to show them stuff that no one knew about, interactions. And so that's how everything went down, and that's how I got sucked back into this, because they went in a way that they should not have gone.
Yeah.
Vocab puts up do a video, a 2 hour video, saying that he challenged. I threatened to sue him because he asked me to read Hebrew.
Yep. Yep.
That is a lie. Me and him never had any interaction. The one interaction he called an interaction is when out of the clear blue at that same time of a bull posting that inside your group, he posted a comment basically saying I'm contradicting myself in a post that I made about the pews.
And
And all
see,
I did was I blocked him.
mhm,
And you know how I do. I have a block party. I don't deal with foolishness
I have one too. I
because
just
of
went.
what I do for a living, and also I am a pastor. So I blocked him. I printed his comments, but I blocked him. So
Yep.
then what did they do? They come out with a video. And what I expressed was I don't have a problem. Everyone is entitled to have their opinions about things, but once you put my picture to it, then that's a different thing. They could have easily, if they really wanted to have a comments or discussion on it, they could have easily reached out to me. They could have reached out to me offline versus making two and three videos, and then placing me in it, and then think that I want to talk to them after that. That doesn't work that way. And so, that's how things. Well, oh, I think I see somebody in the comments saying Antonio Fuentes.
Uh-huh.
We're dealing with down in
Savannah.
Georgia.
Is it
We're
Savannah?
dealing with the pews down in Savannah, Georgia. First African Baptist Church, right? And who is Rawls Talley?
Rawls, uh he used to be the light skinned guy used to be on Brien's panel with me. He does the music.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yep. Yep.
okay. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that's right. That's right. We did have a conversation, Rawls Talley, and that's where I got upset about because I'm doing everything. I took the high road, continuously take the high road, and then these guys come out with videos and basically mocking me. I mean, to the point of trying to say that I don't know how to read Hebrew because, uh, of course, there's a difference between ancient and modern Hebrew, but they're trying to say I don't know how to read Hebrew, and that in itself is slander. So they began. It's like a game to them, but not. But to them, it's a game. But for us, this is our heritage. This is identity. And I just lost two people in my family in the past 2 years. My grandmother, the year before last, who was the matriarch of our family, and also my uncle Jerry Carr, Pastor Bishop Jerry Carr, last year, who was the patriarch of my family.
Yeah.
And every year been losing key people in our family. So the last thing I want to deal with is people trying to take my heritage on something a place they never visited, but then you have all these things to say about it. And that's where it really rubbed me the wrong way.
Yep.
And that's why I said, you know what? All right, if that's what they want to do, then I'm going to expose them in the fullness. And then guess what? We'll see how it goes from there on how they respond. I'm giving nothing but truth, nothing but facts, not trying to insult anyone, but at the same time, calling them who they are. They don't want to build up, they don't want to build a kingdom, they want to build an empire.
Yep.
The difference between a kingdom and an empire, a kingdom is about the people, an empire is about individual. Kingdom, guess what? As we see, the kingdom doesn't have an expiration date, but empires have an expiration date. They're all about trying to use somebody else's heritage as a means to make money. And that's where, for me, it rubbed me the wrong way. And that's why I was emotional about it, because for them, they don't see the depth of it. They don't see that they're insulting somebody's heritage. Enough with this thing of you're trying to tell me who I'm I'm not. You know what I mean? But you
Yep.
can't tell me who I am. You're so busy trying to tell me what I'm not. Where I got my DNA, you know, remember that, sis? They asked for DNA.
Mhm.
Before then, it was like, hey, can you prove it? And I'm giving them a history of my family. Oh, do you have DNA? Okay, I'll go do the DNA test. Not one, but did three of them. And
Yeah.
all of them came back saying that I am, of course, it says Jewish. I don't subscribe to the term, and you guys all know why. But he came back saying that, hey, have Limba at the top of the list, Limba, Bantu Limba, right? And Igbo is right along in it, Yoruba, but number one is Limba. And you see Ethiopian in there, the Ethiopian Jews. So now you come back with this, and then when you tie it in, Dante was hitting them pretty hard. Jacoba hitting them pretty hard. And I remember, Sister, I told you, they're going to use the pews to try to shift the narrative.
Yep.
They did exactly what I said that they were going to do, to try to make it so, to bring this illiteracy into a discussion, basically playing on stereotypes. Like we are a bunch of illiterate.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's what rubbed me the wrong way.
Yep.
That's why, and when it's all said and done, the Most High is going to protect his people, and they're going to look very foolish in the end, because of them trying to what? Make us look foolish.
Yep.
They're even trying to take, even though I don't subscribe to the One West doctrine and all that stuff, but guess what? They still our brothers. And I'm not going to sit back here and let them pick on them about what they label Lashawan, Quadash, and all that other stuff.
Yep.
I'm going to protect those brothers. I'm going to go in with those guys, because I'm not going to let Vocab Malone, who's not part of our community, try to tell us who we are.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm sorry. I know I kind of
No. No.
went
No.
long with it
Perfect.
with that, but that's kind of just giving them an overview. And just to add to it too, when I did the Black Lives Matter message, many people don't know I had death. People made death threats against me. I was on over in Israel. I was on their list over there. You know what I mean? Of dangerous, because of that Black Lives Matter message. And I'm a professional. I'm a professional. I'm not going to give all my information out there, but I work, high end project management. And so basically sacrificing my career, putting my career in jeopardy to bring forth this truth. And so I was dealing with all kinds of stuff, even from within the camps, guys from the camps coming at me because, hey, I got a baby face and I don't have this big beard like they wanted me to have. And they start posting homosexual stuff on my page, and I start having to block them. And it's a lot of stuff that I had to deal with all both sides, from there to the UA, and then me trying to defend our people, but then getting dissed by the very people I defend. But when it's all said and done, for me, I'm still going to defend our people regardless. And if we don't even if we don't believe the same thing, we're still family. We can sort all that other stuff out behind closed doors. But when we out in public, I'm not going to let no one disrespect any of my any of my family.
Yeah.
So again, that's how it started. It started almost 5 years ago, but then coming up to where we are now, this is where the issue occurred because they pulled me in by doing a tasteless videos on the pews, and Bishop Mason knows, the whole situation. He know that how respectful we've been towards him, and then he's going to go to vocab because he couldn't handle us and scared to deal with us, but go to vocab and then let him go at his own people. That's where I have a problem with it. And and I'm not going to pull my punches when it comes to vocab. That's where I have a problem with it, and that's why I could care less for that entire group because they're operating in witchcraft.
Yeah. And I wanted to show a couple of the videos. I just want to show kind of like a run through because I want people to realize that as we proceed into the next wave, because we're not done, family. They're not going to be done. We already know how they are. But as other people start, working towards helping with it, I want everybody to kind of get a timeline because the thing is, a lot of stuff happened before we got to this point. And a lot of the people that are working now, they put their own personal things aside to do this. They put their own, Dante is coming out. Dante's coming out with a book in November. And he's juggling that. I think Pastor Kelly's working on some stuff, and plus Pastor Kelly has a ministry, and he's a pastor. So he was working on this, plus fighting getting the UA community to stop what they're doing. And they was pretty much protecting a lot of the backlash coming. Well, not backlash, but the issues coming, or things coming from the UA community. People like Kelly. Then you had Dante, who's actually working on a book and doing other stuff. And then not to mention you got, Majors, he has a ministry. And then you got Tayu, they have their own channel, very prevalent channel. In fact, I think they have the most numbers than all of us, but they have a channel of their own that they're managing, and they have a multitude of different teachings where they're more so teaching end day prophecy as it pertains to us, and getting us to understand what that means. But these guys stopped for a minute, and keep in mind, Kelly had already been working on these things, and Majors and all those guys at that time, but they had to kind of make a stop because they couldn't stay in the fight and not pay attention to their ministries, because they're pastors first, and then not to mention they have personal lives outside of this, and then like I said, you got, like Dante has his own thriving business and books, and then you got the brothers who got a heavy channel right now, and they're doing a lot, with this, and I just want to thank these guys because, again, the traction that the UA community was trying to get, they couldn't get it because you all kept bringing up facts. Y'all kept bringing up history. You never allowed yourselves to get on. And I kind of wanted to show some of the videos I was looking at the time because, you never allowed yourself to get into the mudslinging. And then we got to think about, our dear brother who passed on. Um, this was the first video of him, Pastor Darby. This man, this is the very first, and I think this is the video that everybody saw when he first came out. This man teach this until his death, that we were the people. He taught us a lot when it came to understanding of the word of God and how to get, where we need to get to far as our faith and our deliverance, and getting into a place where we, walking in true salvation. And then these brothers, this was the video that the Tegu brothers did, and I'm switching to them real quick, when they stepped in. And they did a video because at that time I was being attacked by G-Man, Sister Cherry, and all of them at the same time, which I didn't have a problem with. But I was on Brian's channel, and me and G-Man and Cherry got into it. And they said something about Tegu as well. And they came in. Kelly came in. Dante came in, um, Majors came in, everybody came in all at one time, and not only did you, bless the people, you all blessed me because at that time, like I said, I had been on Berean's channel, and I felt like, I was pretty much by myself when I first came out because I was, not by myself, but I didn't have people within my own community and to interact with. And then I met you because I've only, crazy thing is, people would think, Pastor Kelly, that we've known each other for years. I think it's been a year. I've known you for a year now. But when everything happened, it was like, you know, because for a long time people didn't. I have my Facebook page and my name on Brand is different. And I called Majors and I was talking to Majors on the phone about the whole thing of infiltrating the church. And I know I'm all over the place, but I'm back to to last year. And I called Majors and said, "Hey, bro, I just want to let you know what's going on. Um, Mason is doing a whole teaching talking about the Israelites infiltrating the church." And I'm talking to Majors the whole time, and Majors was listening to my voice. He said, "Wait a minute, wait a minute." He said, "Are you Sister E?" I said, "Yeah." And he just bust out laughing. And he said, "I've been watching you." And that's the same thing with Kelly, because my Facebook page name and my name on here is not the same. And after I started talking to them, they knew who I was, and they were like, "You know what, sis, we got you." And then, like I said, Tayu and these guys, I had been talking to Tayu and Dante and them on chat for a good little minute. So I've been talking to them. But again, they have books and their teachings about, end day of prophecy. And Dante got his books that Dante was getting ready because he had already started saying, "Hey, vocab, you want to talk about my book? Here I am." He had been doing that on Facebook for a minute before everything happened. And then when everything happened, Dante went into full fight mode. Tayu and those guys went into full fight mode. Kelly went into because they were getting ready to try and tag us as if we were almost terrorists, and they were getting ready to lead to that. And none of us are terrorists. All of us have families. All of us have jobs. All of us have personal lives. And these people had no regard. They just wanted to win. They didn't care nothing about anybody's anything. They just wanted to win. They just wanted to win, and they looked at it like it was just a fight. And these guys did what they did, and I just want to make sure that everybody knows. I thank them so much for the work they're doing and the work that.
And can I say something, Sister E, real quick?
Mhm.
Um, just for everybody that's watching, and some of you guys probably not familiar with why I um, call my graphics group Five Smooth Stones. And Sister E probably know this. I think I explained it to her.
Yeah.
Even when I was dealing with Pastor Dow, I used the term Five Smooth Stones. And if you understand um, David, when David slayed Goliath, Goliath wasn't David's giant. It was Goliath was actually custom made for King Saul because King Saul stood a head and shoulders above everyone in Israel. And so, with that, when David confronted, said that he wanted to confront Saul. I mean, Goliath. Samuel decided that. I mean, not Samuel, but Saul decided to say, "Hey, here's my garments. Take my armor and everything. Take my shield, my sword." And David was like, "Hey, this is too heavy." Saul is kind of like that person that don't want to fight somebody, but then when he see you want to fight him, then he got all the advice to
Yeah.
give you on how to beat. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
So, but nevertheless, but what stood out for me was David picked five smooth stones from the water, and when you understand that, it takes water constantly going over those stones to smoothen it out that like that. So, but he only used one stone. And for me, it was like, wow, he only used one stone, but why did he have the four other stones? Right. And when you understand all through scripture, the Most High does not waste anything. Well, when you go to, uh, I believe it's 2nd Samuel, I believe in the 22nd chapter, either the 22nd or 23rd chapter, you'll see towards the end of David's life, David had four additional giants that came against him. But instead of David going against those four additional giants, one of his cousins and three other guys, each one of them slayed the giant. So the key is David picked five smooth stones, but actually that first stone, David was the first stone. The other four was the ones that learned from what David had done, because his cousin said, David, because David almost got killed. He almost got killed by one of the giants. Said, David, you fought long enough. You go back to where you need to be at. You taught us how to be giant slayers. So now I'm going to take the helm and I'm going to run with it. And so
Yep.
my purpose of going at responding to Pastor Dow the way that I did is to show our community that, hey, you know what? This is how you handle disrespect.
Yep.
This is how you handle dealing with situations like this, right?
Yep.
This is how you navigate through it. You don't have to get ugly, because I could have easily gone ugly with Pastor Dow. But what would that have done? If anything, like Proverbs tell us, be careful how you respond to a fool, because both of you can look like two fools. You know
Yep.
what I mean? It can look like just two fools going at each other. So I use that as wisdom to try to give a template to um to our community, that look, we can be respectful. You don't have to curse someone out to be effective in how you respond. So that's how I came up with that term, five smooth stones. And this is why I'm responding the way I'm responding, even with the UA community. I'm not going into the dirt with them. Hey, I'm just going to keep it respectful from the perspective of
Yep.
righteous, but at the same time, when we know scripture, when it comes to fight, it's time to fight.
Yep.
Hamashiach told his disciples to arm themselves, told
Yep.
them to sell their coat and go get some knives to protect the thing that they gave them, the treasure that he gave them or that they were protecting.
Yep.
So I know the balance with that. I know how to go there if I need to, but it's not from a perspective that I'm anxious to go there. No, but I'm going to defend like a true shepherd. I'm going to defend what the Most High tells me given me responsible or responsibilities to defend.
Yep.
So that's why that whole five smooth stones, that's where it comes from. And I'm just hoping and praying that any one of you guys that are watching, someone, say, you know what, let me be that stone. Let me be that next one to say, you know what, these my brothers and sisters labored, and I know they have other things or other works that they have to be responsible for. Let me pick up the helm and let me take over. Let me be that stone to slay this giant that's trying to come, that's trying to attack what we know is holy.
And let me make sure that everybody also knows that um every and I'm gonna say this, with us going where where we're about to go, that others are looking to get engaged, and I will say this to them. I think they did a panel yesterday, and in that panel, I think it was a couple of the people in the Israelite awakening community. I think it was Dr. Howard and all those guys, and they were talking about getting engaged and doing a little bit to help. I would say that I would say to those guys to talk to the guys that have been in the fight for a good little minute. I know Dr. Howard has not entered into this in this realm. And I say it's two different realms when you're dealing with this. You have the realm of those who have, schools. I know Dr. Howard has a school. Certain ones are more focused on the teaching and getting our people, getting people equipped as far as understanding. Like I think he has like a Hebrew seminary. But last night they were talking about the UA community, and I was like, wow. I said they talking about the UA community, like some of them just I know that Ron Dalton knew about them, but I know with Dr. Howard, I don't think they've ever been engaged in this before. So I would say they probably need to make sure talk to some people like Kelly Tegu, Dante Fortson, Ron Shields Majors, to get an idea of what has been done, kind of get a lessons learned of how everything has transpired before they hop in, because I'm a firm believer in let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's talk, let's figure out where y'all going, because a lot of momentum has been has been made in the past year or so, or 2 years or so, that you don't want to do something and then we go back into left field. Kind of, I know, like I said, they're eager, to get engaged and start adding their or providing their input. But also, they always want to, like I said, they just want to be engaged. And like I said, I commend them for, wanting to help. But I would say make sure that they, talk to a couple of the brothers that have already got started to kind of get an idea, what's been done. Because yeah, this is an interesting arena to enter in. And some people, like, I have a lot of respect for our teachers that I deal with. That I have one group that I deal with the women's ministry, that I don't bring them into this realm. And I told them, I said, y'all, I try not to mix those up, because this right here is for, teaching. This right here is to discuss what's going on in the community. So it's kind of, I try not to mix those two. But I would just say, I know they were talking about that yesterday, and it was a good panel. It was a very good panel. But I know, like I said, on the panel, they were, mentioning that, the UA community is doing something far as trying to stop the awakening. And I'm like, yeah, they are. I said, but, I was watching, I was just like, make sure y'all kind of, talk to some people and make sure y'all, like I said, it's no reinventing of the wheel. But also, I do want to shout out to my Sunday seminary family, how they also helped. Berean had a whole panel, and I think Berean had one of the best panels. Um, they had one of the best panels um, that I think anybody had. He had the most mixed panel. Um, um, I think anybody has ever had. You remember that, Kelly? Nobody has ever had a panel like that where you had an Israelite, a Catholic, um, you had you had a bunch of different type of Christians that believed in, we all believed in the same thing, but we had different perspectives on certain attributes, and we all were able to come together and talk. So
Yeah.
that was a very good panel. And I know when everything happened with faithful to God, and Cherry and G Man and all of them, they was ready to go in, because they was like, sis, you don't have to go. They were mad about the way everything happened, and it happened for a reason. And I told them, I said, this is possibly the Most High pushing me to do more. Because I was so afraid to, and family, I'm a serious. I was so afraid to step out on my own by myself, that I hung on to the Sunday seminary family to kind of hide, but I had my own channel. And then when that happened, it was more so the Most High telling me, it's time for you to do something, by yourself. So I look at it as being a means of pushing me out there. I'm laughing because uh Tay, you said they're jumping in and it's too late. Talked about the panel that they had yesterday. He's like, it's too late. The fight over. The fight is not over. But I'm laughing at him. He really tripping. He sent me a message. Um, but yeah, he's like, yeah, it's too late. We ain't got no more fight. And yeah, we know too late. He's saying that he really going off. He's like, can't nobody come and fight now. We done. And it's like, or it's too late rather. He said it's too late for them to come in and help. But again, I'm looking like, which at first I was like, wow, y'all jumping in now. We've been fighting for about 2 years, 4 years. But again, we know it's always a place for people to be involved. It's not going. This ain't it. They're not done. They're somewhere in their own little back cave coming up with phase three. It's going to be another one, family. But but with that being said, and I agree with what Tay you said, because I think now everybody's like, okay, we got a few more videos we finna kick out, and I think that the UA community is done fighting us. So if they, if the I guess the Great Awakening group, if they hop in and start working or doing things as far as video, they're like, where they can, well, where can they fit? And I was like, they can fit. It's just, it's a lot that's been somebody said the fight is over. Really it is. No, it's not. It's not over, y'all. Y'all know the UA community somewhere ready to hop in. They watching right now. Hey y'all, how y'all doing? I know y'all watching. Hit a one. I mean, hit one if you in here, UA. Someone from the UA community, represent yourself. But with
Well, and I just want to say too, sis, and I'll be clear. I got it's two more videos that I'm going to release. one coming up next Friday, and the final one afterwards. And I'm pretty much through with the whole thing because it's really they made it clear from the beginning they never want to have dialogue. They, I mean, that whole thing with I still laugh at the whole thing with the polite thing with Damon Richardson, and you know, they go into Garfield, they go into all these different people, but they would not have dialogue with us. So that tells you where they are. And for me, even if, and I thought about it, it's like even if they was to come to me right now and say, let's have a discussion, I wouldn't even give them the time of day because look at how they disrespected me. Look at
Yep.
how they disrespected all of us. You
Yep.
know, you now want to sit down after you just slapped me in my face, you know, insulted my heritage, insulted all of our heritage. And I want to be clear, when I mentioned the church down in Savannah, Georgia, all of us are connected to that church. There was over 4,000 people going attending that church and helped build that church that was coming from Florida, coming from Alabama, coming from South Carolina, coming from North Carolina, coming from that area. And during that time, you know, the United States is not where it is today. So all of our families connect right to this church, right? And so this church is not just a church, it is an altar, it is a landmark. And what I mean by that is Abraham built an altar in Bethel. Little did he know that his grandson was going to come to Bethel and bury idols in Bethel. You see where I'm going at with that?
Yep.
So that is a bookmark for every last one of us, a historical bookmark that all of us need to go to and visit and let the people there know that guess what? I'm here to see my relatives. I want to see the craftsmanship of my relatives, just so that way they know or they see that guess what? Our community care about this place, and they don't start, you know, compromising in areas that they shouldn't compromise, and that's a whole different discussion.
Yep.
But again, you know, with the whole thing with the UA community, two more videos, that's going to be it. The only way you're going to bring me back into any discussion is if you go, you know, nuclear like Dow did.
Yeah.
And then even that, I could tell that it's all talk. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So with that being said, you know, if there's anyone that wants to connect offline, you know, to kind of, you know, how can I put it? Kind of like a mentor. See, I don't like to use that term covering. I rather say mentor. If anyone that would like to be mentored, um, I don't have a problem. I love doing this. I love talking the word, and I'll share information with you. I'll share with you the word, how to go into the word, not just the word, how to research material as a whole, so that way you're able to navigate through a lot of the attacks. So with
Mhm.
that being said, I just wanted to just put that out there. Um, Again, just to let everyone know, I'm not going to do this. I'm not doing this fight forever. I do have a ministry, and we've been around for almost 11 years now,
Yep.
and we were in Christianity, and the Most High had me lead our assembly out of Christianity. So that wasn't an easy thing to do, but we did it. So, and if there's anyone that's watching and like to know how we did it, I could show you just what we did to make that transition. But again, um, the UA is not even in my conversation. They weren't until they pulled me into the conversation with the video. They weren't even in my conversations.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and so again, guys, just use wisdom. Be careful how you interact. You know, sometimes it's good to just say take it offline because some of these guys they purposely will make dummy accounts, and I think that's how we really started
Yeah.
talking on Sister E because of Do Dirt and some other person
Yep.
came on my timeline and began to act crazy
Mhm.
and wanted to saying that they wanted to debate me and but being
Yeah.
disrespectful to Sister E, and I tagged Ron Shields into that, and
Yeah. He was.
so that's when I said, hey, you
Yep.
know, let's go into Ron Shields' platform, and they were just really being disrespectful, but they call themselves Christians,
Yep.
but creating dummy accounts like Do Dirt and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
You
and see
know,
that's
so
yeah, that's what I
that
love
that
about
was the game.
yeah, yeah. I was just saying that's what I love about when Ron Shields will pop up. You say his name, he'll pop up on your platform and say, "Hey, I heard you said my name," and I just be like, "Oh gosh, it's about to go down." I've been on the platform with him, and somebody said his name, and before you know, he appeared. So that's funny. But
So
yeah,
remember during that time, um, that weekend, remember I said I'll be live, and I said, hey, if any one of you guys from the urban apologetic community want to jump on in, I'm gonna be live, and you can chime on in, and you can challenge me right here. And none of them, they were watching, but none of them chimed in. None
yep,
of them hit that button. And then Ron, I think handled Do Dirt on his platform. But they've been that's what many of these guys have do. They'll create dummy accounts. So
oh,
guys, just use wisdom. If
yeah,
somebody blatantly jumps on your channel or your page and they just start going there with the disrespect, just take it offline. You know, it's nothing wrong. You're not a punk. You're not a wimp when you just say, hey, let's take it offline. And if they keep the rhetoric going, hey, have a block party. I've been having a lot of block parties, as you can hear. A lot of people complain about me blocking them. So you don't have to entertain that stuff. So just use wisdom when dealing with these guys. But again, if any of you guys that are that are interested in mentoring and me helping you navigate through whether scripture, whatever the case may be, feel free to reach out to me. Um, we'll give out, we'll make sure we put our information here, or Sister here put the information here, and you could just reach out to me. Actually, we woke now at Gmail. Just reach out to me on my Gmail account, and we could go from there. Now, as Sister here tell you, I talk to any and everybody.
yeah, here go geek mode fast. No, I'm just messing with you. And again, I just want everybody to get a picture. And again, and also I want to make sure that the the guys coming in from, I guess, what is it called? Great Awakening Group. I think Dr. Howard's group. I want to let them know it wasn't saying that I don't think y'all should be engaged. I think it's great that you all want to be involved in this. And I commend anybody that want to come into the fight. I just want to say that when you're coming into this fight and you're a teacher, you got to understand the rules of how to fight with them, because these guys do not operate in um how can I put it, integrity in most some cases. You come into the fight and you realize that you're on Facebook talking to someone, and you think it's one person, that's another one. That's one thing that they do. They create fake accounts. There's a lot of things that we learned as we went through the process that you all need to be aware of. I mean, like I said, I think now the UA community is going to be settled after all of this, because I think after this last punch from you and Dante and Tayu, all three of y'all, I mean, yeah, Tayu punched him Friday hard. Um, all these different punches, I think now they're going to go back and figure out, how to do this and how to fight again. But and that's just how they operate. But with that said, I'm like, come on, you're welcome, but just know that it's a different arena. These people do not function in integrity in some cases, even though they have pastor and minister in front of their name. Understand that some cases they not gonna, do things right. But I want to make sure that I said thank you to my brothers, because one thing I do say is I hate I never got a chance to tell Pastor Darby thank you. I never got an opportunity to say thank you to that man, because he did such an awesome work. And he reached a lot of people that were new into and that's the, I'm sorry, I got the wrong email. I'm glad you put the right one in, but he did a lot for our community. And when we found out, a lot of us, when we found out he passed on, it hurt. It was very painful, because a lot of us stayed watching him. And when he passed, I said, I hate it. I never got a chance to tell the man thank you, because he did such a phenomenal thing in the community. But now that my brothers are here, I'm going to let them know that we do appreciate you all. We do appreciate everything that you all have done. I can't forget about my buddy Pack. If you ain't never been a part of the Biblical Rumble Room, I'm putting a plug in here for you, Pack. It's a Facebook group, but take the name for what it is, the Rumble Room. It ain't, it's an interesting environment. But even with what Pac has, his Facebook page, you get um, you can be able to kind of have that environment to learn and listen and see how people talk. So when you do get into these debates, you'll be able to take care of yourself. Then, not to mention those individuals that did panels like myself. They were on panels with I think Yochanan and Watcher was on Cherry's panel. People don't know that they had two Israelites that was on her channel, and they had to deal with her. Oh my God, I pray for them. But those guys hung in, and their hearts were to get her to understand and repent and learn that everybody's not alike. And they did it with such grace and such love that I want to commend those brothers as well, because they don't get visibility. People don't see them because they're kind of, they're quiet guys. But Yahukanan and Watcher was on her panel for a couple of months, and I don't see how they could have stood a couple of seconds on her panel, but they hung in there and they did what they could to, let the sister know that, you operating in a hateful place, and you got to walk in love, and this is what we believe in. So if I miss somebody, because it's a lot of things out there, it's a lot of places to go. You got debate talk for you. You got a lot of places to go, and you just can listen. But a lot of people have been working on this, and I just want to say thank you to everybody that have did everything for the past couple of years, even before I knew who I was. Y'all was out here fighting the fight. And I just want to say thank to everybody. Thank you to everybody. And if I missed you, understand it wasn't intentional. It's just, yeah. I just had to say this because, yeah, we've come a long way. We've come a long way. I've never seen the UA community like this before. Coming up with false information. That's what tripped me out, Pastor Kelly. You came out with that information, and I said, "Wow, she's an attorney, and she didn't do her due diligence. She's an attorney, and you called her out on it, and she just didn't, and that's a shame that she didn't do it. You know. So, anything you want to say, Jacoba, tell you if y'all in the comments say hello. If not, they're gonna do something soon. So, anything else you got to say, Pastor?
Yeah, again, just piggybacking off what you just pointed out, and guys, it's a lot going on right now, and I just believe that this whole UA thing um, just comes with the territory, just to kind of sharpen us to as a community to, how can I put it, to address things we need to address. And number one is, how do we come together in spite of what we agree or disagree on? We still should be able to come together and defend our community. You know, similar to any other community, the Jewish community, most of them are atheists, right? But
Yep.
you cannot go into their community if you're not part of their community. And other communities operate the same way. And so we just have to get to a place that we cannot just sit here and let someone come into our community and not get involved. I'm just wired a lot. Maybe I'm just old school, but we just, the way I grew up is, you just don't let anyone come into your on your block and act crazy. You handle whatever you need to handle, and then you just deal with whoever's on your block one on one in the house or whatever. But right there in front of people, we don't iron our differences out with one another publicly. We do that behind closed doors. And like I said, use social media as a tool, but not as a crutch. So that's all I just want to really put out there. Oh, and also remember, we have to have the Holy Spirit. Make sure you have the Holy Spirit. All
Yep.
right. Make
Yep.
sure you have the Holy Spirit. Without the Holy Spirit, um, we can really get caught up in a lot of unnecessary stuff.
Yep.
So again, feel free to reach out to me. If you don't start any fights, I don't have a problem with coming to anyone defense, but just make sure you don't go out there starting something to where as though you're putting everyone else in the compromising position.
Yeah. And I
You
do
know,
have
just be,
one. I'm sorry.
go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
sis. Go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
One thing we gotta always remember to we can't forget about also, and I forgot to say his name, Pastor Omar. A lot some people don't agree, but we gotta learn how that if we don't agree on things, we still gotta walk in love and work together. Um, but Pastor Omar also put in some work because of that Negro Land tour with Bishop Danny Coleman. Um, they did an awesome tour as well. And that, like I said, not I'm trying to make sure I don't forget certain people, but I can't forget them as well because that Negro Land tour was very good at the time. So again, we have to learn how as a community that if you don't agree with Pastor Omar, if you don't agree with Pastor Kelly, or you don't agree with Tayu, it's fine to disagree. The disciples didn't always agree. The apostles didn't always agree, but they all have one plan and one cause. And we have to learn how, as a community, that let's learn how to just say let's agree to disagree. Long as we believe in the essentials of the faith. Now, when we start messing with the essentials, then we have to kind of rethink things. Um, but if we believe in the essentials, let's make sure that we work together because Omar within our community, Omar is a little bit more. I want to say he's a little bit more. He has a Christian church, but he believes that we are the people. But I want y'all to give him love too, because I notice people kind of attack him, and y'all gotta stop that. You gotta stop attacking each other. Um, but he's put in work as well. Um, so let's just learn how to love each other, y'all. You
Well,
know,
I'll just say this, and I think I'm not going to mention any of the camps' names because they look at me like like very peaceful, which I am. But I will pop up on you if you really disrespect me.
oh, can you please
And
tell them about the pop up story, Pastor? Please,
oh yeah, yeah.
please,
I
y'all got
had
to
a
do
it was
it.
some
Y'all got
camps
to.
that was going, calling me gay, and because I gave them proper clarity on the scriptures about pants, and they saw that I didn't have a full beard, and they were like, "Hey, you know, uh, called me gay, called me homosexual, all kinds of stuff." It's like, okay, I found out where they were located at, and I popped up to their assembly, and they did not expect me to pop up. And needless to say, I handled all of them by myself. So I'm just gonna say, it wasn't, I wasn't going there with 10 boots on and nothing like that, but I had to go there to let them know that, you're not gonna disrespect me or anyone that decide to wear a suit. Just because I wear a suit doesn't mean that you could just disrespect me. Just because I may be clean cut, so to speak, doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and let you disrespect me. Because just like everyone else, I had to be delivered too. Every last one of us has something that we had to be delivered from, and so that's the pop up. I popped up on a couple of camps because of them being disrespectful to me on my Facebook channel. And I'm just one of those like, okay, let's see if you're going to be consistent when we meet in person. But again, I'm not trying to promote, you know, fighting and all that other stuff. But I just want to make it clear, let's be respectful and remember that each and every one of us have a past that we had to be delivered from as well. you know like me, I had to be delivered. I have a past. I look like I grew up in the silver spoon in my mouth, but I'm gonna be real with you. Our We didn't have china. We had mayonnaise jars, pot pans, and you know what I mean, stuff
Yeah.
like that. We didn't have the stuff that most people have. So, and I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, so it's not what many people think it is. But with that being said, let's be respectful to one another. For me, the more they see us be respectful with each other, it's going to discourage them from being disrespectful to us. Does that make sense?
That
If
makes
we
sense.
start being more respectful to each other communities watching us will start seeing the bar, the standard that we have among ourselves, and they will have no other choice but to what? Align themselves with that. But if
Yeah.
we constantly calling each other coons, like think about it. The only reason why Vocab felt like he could call use the coon word is because he hear groups saying the coon, and he got beside himself. And not saying that he's cool, he's good for saying that. I know he's wrong, and I'm going to call him out for that, and still call him out for that. But we have to stop calling each other names. We have to stop being disrespectful to each other, and that will make a world of a difference on how others see us and how they respond to us as well.
Yep, and like I said, y'all don't be shocked if one day I'm visiting Pastor Kelly at church. Can y'all believe I've never met Pastor Kelly face to face? I've always talked to him on the phone. Like I said, it's weird because the only person I've ever met face to face is Majors. Majors is the only person I've ever met face to face. Everybody else, I was gonna make a trip to go to visit his assembly for Passover, and then we had the big COVID-19, so that kind of just put a whole whimper to the whole plan. But I plan to visit soon. But I want to start doing stuff where those who wanna do this have I want to say I was thinking about doing Sister E on the Run or something like that, and visit different assemblies and do live shows with some of the Mores because I've never met Hebrew Nation face to face. I've never met none of them, but I want to kind of let people see meet some of the pastors face to face. I was thinking about, like I said, going to Pastor Omar's assembly church soon and check him out. That's why I'm like, y'all show him love too. Don't do him like that. Don't do him like that. I know some of our people don't too much care for the term Christian, but he's really touching. Everybody's assigned to somebody. You get what I'm saying? Some people are not quite ready um, to get in where we are, but they do understand who we are, and he's reaching a demographic that some of us probably wouldn't be able to reach. Well, I ain't gonna say, yeah, some of us probably wouldn't be able to reach, but understand that he is teaching. So let's walk in love. Let's love each other. Don't berate each other on these Facebook pages because your community watches it. um yeah, on the run, I was really thinking about doing that, Sister E on the Run, once everything chill out with this COVID and I get settled with wherever I go, because I'm actually trying to get a job close to where Pastor Kelly teaches, because my daughter's going to be out there as well going to school. So I was going to join his assembly, but like I said, everything with the COVID has put everything on hold. But once everything gets back on course, I was gonna do road trips and go and visit some of these pastors and just do 30-minute conversation, and you get to meet them. So like I said, anything else, Pastor? Because
Oh,
I know
what's that childhood song? This
what
is the song that never ends.
don't you know what? Don't do me. See, y'all get to see this side. This is what I get. Y'all get to see the Pastor Kelly. I get to see this right here. You hear that sarcasm? What he's slick trying to tell me is I hadn't stopped talking. So I'm gonna stop talking, family, so I can let this old guy on here go to sleep because I know it's past his bedtime. I have to throw one back at you, don't you? So,
No, it's all good.
but family, I want to thank you all. Like I said, walk in love, and keep doing what you're doing, family. Good night and love you.